So with safety boots, and let's say, for instance, if they're using a work shower, they're exposed to other people, like wherever you're showering, or even if you go on holiday, whatever it may be. And you wear these safety boots for 12 hours a day and you've got a fungal infection, also known as athlete's feet, which is so common. That spreads like wildfire. So I had a patient come in, he was working 12-hour shifts for like weeks on end. And he never not once washed inside of his shoes. So he was like, Alisha, I keep on getting this infection. And in between his toes were like, so people need to take care of the feet that carry them through life. I mean, like if you don't have your feet or your legs, how much of an impact would that change your life? How much would it change your family's life? You could potentially lose your income. All of this could have been prevented if I had known. There's so many people's lives that we could prevent complications from if you're just...
I'm thrilled to be meeting with you, Alisha. And where did everything start for you? I mean, something like preventable health seems to be a big topic for you, something that you're quite keen on, plus you're marrying that with technology. Tell us a bit, where did it start for you?
I think with my journey of me being a qualified podiatrist, I got access to real life people and their stories, especially when it comes to chronic conditions like diabetes, because we play a very big role in amputation prevention, in people living with diabetes. So just interacting with people and finding out like their journey and how certain things could have been prevented if there wasn't this stigma around things like diabetes or mental health or whatever it may be. I mean, some people are so ashamed to show their feet, and I'm like, no, embrace it. Like, you can do it. So it started from there, where I actually had a conversation with multiple patients and them just sharing their stories with me and saying, you know what, all of this could have been prevented if I had known the condition on a larger level, or if I had known or been educated about a certain thing. And then that got me thinking, like, there's so many people's lives that we could prevent complications from if you're just proactive with your health. That is so, so important. So then I actually started getting into the wellness space, and I opened up my second business, which is F&P Wellness. And with that, I'm almost like trying to use it as my vessel to go into different places and find solutions to problems that we are all facing. I mean, the workplace force or the workforce is so massive. There's so many different people in this place that is affected by so many things that are basic. I mean, just like stigma around certain conditions, or you're not allowed to say that you have this certain condition because you might not be taken for that promotion. But why? You need to be more open-minded, because your employees are basically helping your business grow. If you have those employees, you cannot do everything alone. So take care of your people, like be more proactive with your people's health. And that's when I was like, okay, I need to start posting about workplace health. And I really love HealthTech. I mean, like AI is the next thing that's happening. So I was like, how do I bridge the gap and just make it a lot easier for people? Because if someone sees, okay, this is so easy, I could just use an application to manage my workplace health. It's just a lot easier. So trying to bridge those gaps and bring in AI and just makes everything.
Wow. Now, you obviously in the camp that's more, I would say, more optimistic about AI. Some people are not so optimistic. Obviously, some people are fearful and some people are just ignorant. And maybe there's a bit of both. Is that accurate? I mean, it does seem like you're quite optimistic. Use AI for good.
Because sometimes patients would just come in and they'll be like, I Googled my symptoms and this is what I got. And I'm like, did Google tell you that? Because it's not accurate. I mean, maybe you're on the right track, but you're not necessarily quite accurate. So I did have a love-hate relationship with it. But then I realized this is the only thing patients have access to at 12 o'clock at night when they're like, I have certain symptoms, or what's going on with me? Or now with things like ChatGPT, you could ask it give it all your symptoms. It could give you recommendations. And it's like, okay, this is who to see. That's what they have access to. So we might as well start embracing it and using it to both your advantage as the practitioner, but also at your patient's advantages as well, because that's the only thing they have access to at that point. You can just flip out your phone and do whatever on it. So yeah, use it to your advantage.
Yeah. I mean, I can imagine like even in various fields, creative fields, where, you've got a client and suddenly they they're using ChatGPT like to write their own stuff or even design things. To pretend that otherwise is silly. So I think it's a good start. Some people, obviously, the danger comes when people self-diagnose and self-medicate, right? When they don't have the experience and the knowledge like someone like yourself would have. So I just want to kind of circle back to something you mentioned earlier, touched on the stigma around things like mental health, things like diabetes. Why do you think there's such a stigma around that? Because I do find it's quite pervasive.
Sometimes personally, I mean, with me being under 30, like 27, and being thrown into the deep end and now being expected to run these businesses and like everybody wants you to achieve so much. Slowly, there has been a lot of like, I did suffer, or I still do suffer with mental health problems where it's like anxiety, or you're scared to fail. And then you're like, I have so many things to do. And if you tell people about that, sometimes they're on the receiving end where they're like, why are you complaining? Like, you have so many blessings, or you have so many things. Like, how dare you complain? But if they were more welcoming and there wasn't the stigma around it, like if you have mental health problems or you have a specific condition, like it's a bad thing. Like, how dare you have this? But if you actually were on the receiving side and were like, okay, Alisha, what's actually going on? Like, do you need help? Do you need just a friend for coffee? I mean, I have so many friends that just say like, okay, let's just go for coffee and have a conversation, because they understand where it's coming from, because they've been in my shoes. So that's where the stigma needs to stop, because we need to start understanding people and understanding what they're going through and not make it seem like it's their fault. Like, you know what I mean? Yes, if you have cause to have diabetes, whatever it may be, but you're living with it now. Let's not shout at you for it or like reprimand you for it. Let's actually teach you how to manage something, or give you tools to say, you can do this. It's not something bad that you need to think of all the bad things that can happen. You can actually have a really good life if you just know how to look after yourself. And I feel like sometimes in our cultures, you built in with that stigma, like you don't cry or don't do all of these things. But it needs to also start at home. You need to have those conversations with your kids or your family members, and just have a safe environment, so when they grow up, they don't have that stigma around this whole thing. So I feel like it just has to start with the basics, just very basic.
Do you think so? The origin of that stigma, it sounds to me like it's coming from, I guess, not being educated about it, feeling threatened by all the ideas around something like mental health, something like diabetes, where the type 2, often it's caused by lifestyle, although that's not always necessarily the case. But yeah, there's something about people don't have the knowledge. And so it seems like education is key. Have you found that to be the case?
100%. I mean, like, if you are educated, well, it doesn't necessarily mean if you're educated to a point where you have to go to school to learn about it. If you're given access to it by means of your local clinics, your gyms, or the places you buy your food from, your doctors, the people that you interact from, your medical team, if they just sit down with you and have that conversation with you and say, okay, this is what could potentially go wrong, but these are the tools that can help you prevent this. This is who you need to go to in order to help you prevent this from happening. And it's just about bridging that gap. It's nothing to be ashamed of if you don't necessarily know, but knowledge is empowerment and being proactive with your body. You only have one body. You only have 2 legs and 10 toes. So taking care of what you've been given, just being proactive and wanting to actually prevent things from happening is also very, very important. Don't leave things. But sometimes people can't necessarily afford that care.
Yeah.
That also grow.
Yeah, no, it seems like there's, on the one hand, this ignorance, which could lead to just not knowing any better, even though we're living in a time where knowledge is literally everywhere, or anywhere. If you're looking for something, just first with search engines and now with AI and the combination of the two. So I don't think that's necessarily an excuse if someone has access to the internet and mobile device, which I think like crazy amount of people actually do have that, even in the poorest of community. There are ways to find out and to learn more, but there's this willful ignorance where you actually, what I've heard is people who have been diagnosed with something like diabetes, for example, they actually didn't want to hear that, because it's just like one of those things that once the doctor tells you that it's official, now your whole life's going to change. And so there's obviously this normal human nature thing of, I don't want that, I just want things to be the same or at least not get worse. But yeah, I suppose, have you noticed in your practice that people come in and they actually did know that there's something there, even though after you've diagnosed them, but they didn't want to access that truth? Is that something you've noticed?
I think it's just human nature also, because people are just like, you never have bad news. Like, who likes bad news? You know what I mean? And when you have to be someone to tell them, like, this is the bad news, but there's that big but to say, you still can live with this. Let's say, for instance, you've got nerve damage, which is very common in patients that I see. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have an amputation tomorrow, because that's what they've seen. That's what they've been exposed to. That's the sort of information they know about. That could have come from their families. It could come from wrong information shared on social media. But that's the preconceived idea that they already have in their minds, that if I've got this, it's automatically going to equal that. And
worst case scenario, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, that's where you go to these places. I mean, I do it myself. If I have like a toothache or whatever it may be, then I have to go to the dentist and he has to give me an injection, and now I have to just like go there, and it's just worst case scenario ever. But what needs to happen is that what people are exposed to, I feel like that's where it needs to start. You are, as you said, majority of people have access to information and like AI tools and whatever it may be. So whatever they're exposed to, we need to give them the information. We need to educate them as much as possible, because when people can just whip out their phones and be like, I have this, what could go wrong? That's simple things, simple things.
Yeah. Well, you touch upon, nerve damage. Let's talk feet, because this is area of your expertise besides all this, everything else. But let's say, what have you seen? What do people, what does the workplace get wrong about feet? And tell us more about the importance of feet within the workplace as you see it.
So a lot of people haven't been focusing on their employees' foot health. I mean, I have gone to some places where people are just like, what are you doing? Are you like paid to touch feet? Because now it's weird. Like, do you have like a thing about feet? And I'm like, that is far from it. And it's a no. People are not look aftering their feet. They don't think that your feet or your foot health is something that needs to be advocated for or taken care of. I mean, like when I watch TV and the adverts come on, you're like, okay, dental hygiene. Have you seen, this is the new glasses you could get, or let's go to a gym or whatever it may be. But how are you getting to gym? How are you exercising? What are those two little things that are holding your whole body while you're exercising? When you're at work, what do you put, how do you get around? Your shoe wear. Something as simple as shoe wear could change the way you're doing, like the way you see yourself. If I need to wear like these super cute shoes, but I've got foot pain, and then I'm like, okay, now what's going on? So people need to take care of the feet that carry them through life. I mean, like if you don't have your feet or your legs, how much of an impact would that change your life? How much would it change your family's life? You could potentially lose your income. And a lot of...
This is the thing, hey? We take for granted your feet. They've always been there. They'll always be there. That might not be the case.
Exactly. And I feel like sometimes where it's really affected is the people that are on the ground. I mean, like our army, our policemen, our nurses, the people working
on their feet all day.
Exactly. And they would then not know about podiatry. They were like, I didn't even know there was someone for your feet. I was sitting in that same spot before I qualified as a podiatrist, and I was just like Googling, like, who takes care of your feet? And I was like, there's actually people for your feet. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so life-changing, because if everybody's got feet problem, I mean, like I personally had TMI, ingrown toenails, and I was too scared to like go to my GP or go to a surgeon, because like if you go to your GP, they're just going to cut you. And then like if you go to your surgeon, all they're going to offer you is a surgery. I didn't even know that I was cutting my toenails wrong. Something as simple as that. Avoided. Yeah, I didn't have to have a surgery done. And to this day, I don't have ingrown toenails, which is the best thing ever, because it's horribly.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think more people than would admit would agree with you. Absolutely. Well, you mentioned the impact, obviously, of losing your feet, God forbid, but your feet being somehow injured because of wrong footwear, or maybe just neglect, this is the thing, or not wanting to go somewhere to get something fixed that you're a little bit embarrassed about, something like ingrown toenails, for example. Or, I've obviously heard of bunions and whatever. There's things that people have heard about. And then when you get it, it's like, no, not me. And you kind of just put your head in the sand sometimes. But what kind of impact have you seen in the workplace, for example, with some of these fixes and some of these things that you've brought into the workplace? Have you got some cool stories that you can share with us?
I've got a lot of funky, gruesome stories. So let's say, for instance, in someone that wears safety boots. So common, so common. In different environments, in different fields, you potentially have to wear a sort of safety boot. So with safety boots, and let's say, for instance, if they're using a work shower, they're exposed to other people, like wherever you're showering, or even if you go on holiday, whatever it may be. And you wear these safety boots for 12 hours a day, and you've got a fungal infection, also known as athlete's feet, which is so common. That spreads like wildfire. So I had a patient come in. He was working 12-hour shifts for like weeks on end. And he never not once washed inside of his shoes. So he was like, Alisha, I keep on getting this infection. And in between his toes were like wet and smelly and peeling and green. And you asked for stories. I'm giving you the truth.
This is it. Don't hold back.
And
this is what'll happen if you neglect your feet. So let's wake people up to this.
And he was like, I went to my local doctor, and what he did was he gave me obviously antifungal medication, but that's about it. But it doesn't want to go away, and I've had these things for 2 years. What's going on?
2 years?
2 years. I've had a patient who had a fungal infection for 15 years. It was crazy.
Oh, that's mind-blowing. Why would you do that to yourself?
For this particular patient, I was like, okay, so a common question. How often are you washing proper inside of your shoes? And he was like, inside. Why? I was like, I wash it generally, and then I just shake it up and that's it. And that he does every 4 weeks. And I was like, okay. So fungus loves closed, warm, nice, dark, cozy areas, and your shoes, moist areas, and your shoes is a perfect environment. So let's say, for instance, you're getting the medication, it goes away, but then you wear the same shoe, it hops back on. And you keep on reinfecting yourself. And he was like, that makes so much sense. He threw away his safety boots and he got a new one. And every day after work, he had sanitizer or shoe spray, and he sprayed inside, cleaned it out, left it in the sun, and then he would wear it again. And I was like, this is what you needed to be doing. Your showers, your socks, your bedding, your floors, everything that your foot touches potentially has been exposed to the fungus. You need to clean everything. So we gave him a guide that basically helped him with all of this. And let's say 2 months later, he came back and he was like, Alisha, you saved my wife because she was complaining about the smell of my feet. I thought she would force me. And I'm like, no, man, what's going on here? But something as simple, simple things.
Yeah.
Knowledge.
Brilliant. I mean, I love that story. And it's, again, such a simple fix, but you can go for 15 years and you just don't think about that sort of stuff. That's amazing. Oh, I love it. Okay, cool. Now tell us a bit more about FMP Wellness. What's your vision for FMP Wellness? What I've read about needle-free, screenings, AI-enhanced screenings as well. What's that all about?
So particularly, I don't like being poked with needles. I am a big baby when it...
There might be a that does, but no, most people, normal people, don't like that.
So when I was like, if someone has to offer me a wellness day and there's needles there, I don't particularly really want to go because they're just going to poke me. It's not going to be fun. Let's not do it. So I think it was last year that I went to a CDE conference. So they're big on diabetes, and they actually introduced me to a camera called the Fundus camera. So the Fundus camera. And this lovely little gun-held machine, it's like handheld, not gun-held, handheld. That's the one I'm talking about. It's like a handheld machine, and it literally takes a picture of your eye, and it has the potential to screen you for high blood pressure, your sugar readings or your glucose readings. It screens you for glaucoma or diabetic retinopathy. And just by taking a simple picture of your eye, you could have avoided things like a blood test. But obviously, if you need to get like a HIV test done or a little bit more in-depth cholesterol or things like that, obviously we need proper blood for that. But something as simple as a screening, you could just take a picture of your eye and then you get a full report.
Amazing.
Yeah, avoid the needles. Just avoid the needles.
And then, obviously, the impact that has is if you don't have the needles, more people will come to these wellness days. More people will try and skip and avoid the pain of a needle. Just to clarify, you said CDE. Just tell us what that stands for the audience that may not know. Is it CDE?
So it's the Center of Diabetes and Endocrinology in South Africa.
Okay.
I'm just going to double that for you.
Sounds legit.
Yeah, so it's Center of Diabetes and Endocrinology.
Oh, brilliant. And you also mentioned the camera. It's not the fungus camera, it's the fundus camera. Is that right? Okay.
So it's FDUS, so fundus camera.
Fundus camera, just to be absolutely clear. This camera is something completely different. I don't think that exists. You are the fungus camera if you are observing. Okay, great. So let's talk about access and equity.
Yep.
How can tech help more South Africans get the care they need? And earlier, especially.
So my plan for FMP Wellness is to go into different sectors of healthcare and try to bridge the gap. That's all the different gaps that we have currently in our country by means of AI, apps, software, whatever. So this is where we actually developed our first it's a digital wellness app. It's called HealthSpace FMP Wellness. And when you go to a wellness day, so this is something that just streamlines the processes. Everything is done on a tablet, or you can even do it on your phone. All your information is uploaded. All your results are uploaded. We give you AI-generated reports. Even if you need referrals, that is all sent from our app. And the reason behind this was people were going to wellness days, just getting checked out for the sake of putting your number on a piece of paper saying that you were there and going about their day. Not necessarily understanding that they could potentially have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high glucose levels, and, have fun. Thanks for coming. Thanks for getting screened. Thanks for being a number on my page, but that's about it. And companies were not understanding that you actually need reports and data and actually need to understand the wellness of your employees. And what can you do as an organization to improve their health? Maybe there's a high level of anxiety in your employees. Why? Happened at that month. Maybe you need to do a screening every month for mental health to see, is it improving? Is it getting worse? I mean, I've been exposed to people who have said, you know what, I actually want to commit suicide because my workplace environment is so toxic. I do not want to be there anymore. And I was like, what is going on? So with this digital platform, it gives organizations access to real data. So you can track your process. You can implement different policies. You could potentially partner with your medical aid. I mean, we're trying to introduce this to the medical aids as well to say, even your offerings could be different because sometimes you're spending money on things that people are not even needing and you're not applying funds to things people actually have problems with.
Absolutely.
So it's just data backed. And with this change, we could change things like policies. We could change things like offerings. You could change things actually saving someone's life by just understanding what's going on within your organization. Because it all starts with the workplace and those people take it home to their families. And those are the sort of gaps we're trying to fill. We're trying to see real, actual problems. And then using AI, using tech to try and bridge that gap and just make it a lot more easier for organizations to download an app. Well, not download it. Use a subscription for the app. Have this within your workplace wellness, your nurses, your internal staff. And then you've got an in-house basic sort of product tool.
Yeah. Well, I think that could be an absolute game changer. It seems like all the right people, all the right companies with the right culture who really do want to help will embrace this. It's like a no-brainer. But those that don't care won't bother. So it's really to find those. Obviously, we want to get the word out so the right companies know about you guys and know about your app, and also that they can start implementing it. Because once you have the data, you can make different decisions. You can go in a different direction. If you don't know, ignorance, if you don't know something's wrong, you're not going to fix it. But if you do, and you want to, then by all means.
I mean, even in Africa, diabetes is one of our biggest killers. If the government had proper data from multiple areas in South Africa saying that this was an issue, which they do know about. I think they just they want to put funds towards foot health. You could see using or seeing a podiatrist could decrease an amputation rate. There is proper data out there saying this. There's proper research out there. I mean, even our podiatry university has done research, but I feel like we need to amplify this and just get as many people screened as possible and give them proper data to say, you need to open up more jobs in a public setting or make this more accessible. You need to change it.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. You mentioned a few different offerings or medical aids that have, potentially spending some money on things that are maybe not priority, whereas others they're neglecting potentially. Is there anything obvious that you are aware of that you can think of top of your head? Don't want to put you on the spot, but is there something that you wish you could change? If you had a magic wand and you could change the way most medical aids are run and things, etc., is there something specific you would change?
I think put more funding towards prevention than treatment. I feel like this is my motto of life, just being proactive with your health and advocating for as many wellness checks, as many screenings, paying as many healthcare professionals that are involved in these wellness days and these screenings as possible, and just paying more for prevention than you are paying for treatment. Because I feel like prevention might be a lot more cheaper than paying for an amputation, a surgery, a surgeon, anesthesiologist, a hospital, when you could have prevented that.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the thing, the proactive aspect, rather than spending so much money on the treatment, you could prevent that treatment from even needing to be necessary. And this is what I'm hearing more and more as I'm speaking to experts like yourself. And Dr. Claudine Lee, who I interviewed a few weeks ago, same thing. I don't know if you saw that episode, maybe not, but I can gladly forward it to you. She had made some fantastic points. Yeah, no, for sure. So let's kind of chat a bit more about diabetic foot health specifically. What do you want both parties to know, healthcare providers as well as patients, about managing the risks around that?
Both more knowledgeable about podiatry and podiatrists on just a basic level of what do we actually do? How can we help you? And especially for medical professionals, just embracing that there is a sector of healthcare professionals that is just made for your lower limb and for your legs, especially with people living with diabetes. Because sometimes I feel like they don't embrace that, and there might be a point where oh my gosh, this person is going to be stealing my patients. It is far from that. I can't even do half the things a GP does, right? So I have my own field. That is what I'm really good at. That is my degree. So think about your patient holistically and don't just try and just do everything yourself when there's people out there that can actually help you with this. That's a message that I would like to share with other healthcare professionals. Is just be open-minded. This might be a very small field, but we pack a punch. We do. And we can really help patients on a whole. And I feel just with patients, because they're exposed to, I have a certain problem, I'm going to go to my general practitioner and they're going to help me from there. So that's their first point of contact because that's what they've been exposed to for years on end. That's not wrong. That's your first point of contact. But then it's the responsibility of the person you go to say, okay, you need to go to X, Y, and Z to manage this sort of conditions. And you need to go see a podiatrist for your foot health. And then we're all going to manage you and just give you the best holistic care as possible.
Yeah.
So I feel like it would be the best scenario ever.
No, it sounds good. Besides packing a punch, I'm sure you've also got a good bit of kick, perhaps with the foot. But I must say, just the fact that you came up on my LinkedIn feed, the fact that you are doing so much to build your personal brand, be an advocate for foot health. I mean, I've never seen a podiatrist, never been on my radar until your feed came up. And so well done. You're definitely doing something right. Maybe you could speak to us about the importance of building a personal brand. Is that something you obviously believe in? Could you just speak about the importance of that within what you are trying to do?
Sweet. I feel like I made a difference. So that's the reason why I pitched up on your LinkedIn. So I'm trying to make a difference and just advocate for the profession and just wellness as much as possible. So thank you. That was very kind. So with building a personal brand, I feel it's very important because people need to put a face to an offer, for instance. And that also helps build trust. Because in my particular field, when someone has to have a problem, especially like a medical problem, and they watch my silly TikTok videos or my educational content or whatever, maybe they find me on Instagram or whatever it may be, and they're like, oh, this lady. I saw this lady on TikTok and she said she can help you with ingrown toenails. Like, I really like her vibe. Like, they resonate with you. It builds trust. It builds like almost like, okay, this is the person that could potentially help me. So I feel like that's really helped me start building my practice, where people just find a friendly face and they're like, okay, this is an actual thing. She's an actual person. This is not just like some scam.
Yeah.
Someone actually trying to scam me. But on the other hand, with me trying to build my personal brand as like a young female entrepreneur, it also gives voices to other young girls that want to be in a certain field or come from a family. I mean, I come from a family like none of us are business owners. They have like both my parents are like police officers. My uncle's a police officer. Like, they've got like, like the standalone jobs. Like, this is what you get hired by a company, like you earn a salary and whatever. And then I came out and I was like, I want to be a business owner.
What was the response? What was the reaction? Did you have some pushback initially?
My mom has been one of the most supportive people on my journey ever. Like, she was so welcoming. She was just like, you can do this. You can definitely do this. And then you get my other family members are like, well, can you really, But
Thanks for the vote of confidence, fam.
Exactly. I was like, okay. But you don't surround yourself with people like that. I mean, like, everybody needs a little bit of pushback, but you don't surround yourself with people like that. And with me building a personal brand and actually putting my story out there and talking about building a medical practice and being a female entrepreneur in a field that's quite male dominated, it's almost like quite encouraging for someone else sitting at home being like, oh, okay, I can actually do this. Like, there is someone out there that is doing this. And yes, she might be struggling. Yes, she might have like days you want to cry and things are not going the way that she wanted to go, but it's all part of the journey. So I feel like it just gives someone else. If I had someone to actually look up to, say, besides my mom, I mean, like, she's amazing. She's like my role model and everything. But if I had someone who was like, okay, there's someone going out there from a small town. No one knows what she does. People just thought I touch feet for a living, which was quite weird. And they can actually do this. I think I could do that too.
Wow. Well, speaking of inspiration, you've been recognized as a finalist for Standard Bank's Top Women Award. Well done. Congratulations. What does this recognition mean to you, and how would you use this on your platform to influence change?
It means I'm doing something right. I mean, like, even with you finding me on LinkedIn, it means I'm doing something right. My message and my mission of life is getting out there. I want people to be as educated as possible. Having that, having that knowledge is so powerful. You could save so many people's lives. Like, that is what I want to do. I want to reach as many people as possible, give them the necessary information, and just help build that gap that's been in South Africa and been in the world about foot health and young female podiatrists, or young female entrepreneurs, and just all that stigma that, like, women can't do this. And especially young women, they can't be taken seriously. It means I'm doing something right. So I feel like, yeah, and it's opening up different platforms. I mean, this was the first time I actually did like proper public speaking in front of people and like pitching my business. I was so afraid, but I was like, you know what? This is my opportunity. This is what I've been praying for. This is what I've been wanting. Just take advantage of it and be honest and be yourself. So yeah, I just loved it.
Well done. I commend you, Alisha. But maybe we can go there. Like, it's not always sunshine and rainbows. Like, people sometimes just see the very great, like, professional photographs of you, put forth a positive image of yourself, your personal brand, and obviously your companies and all the brands that you associate with. But take us to some of your toughest days, if you would. Take us through the reality of that, the day-to-day, those days that you wish, you could just skip over. Like, are there some days like that?
Gosh, for the past 3 months, it's been there. It's been there to a point where I was like, what am I going to do? Like, something's not working. It's either like when you have slow days in your practice and then you've got so many responsibilities and you're like, you've got staff, you've got family to look after, you've got people looking at you, and if you fail, they're gonna like laugh at you. But I come from, well, my parents are divorced, so it wasn't like a very pretty childhood. And when people find this out about me, and like that I didn't have the perfect, happy-go-lucky childhood, they're like, really? You would never say. You would really never say. Because I used that with my mom being like a single mom, growing my sister and I up, coming from a really small town. She was always driven to give us the best out of life. Completely. And I think that's what also drives me. Like, I don't want to go back to having these tough days or not being able to provide for my family. And like, providing for my mom is one of my biggest goals and achievements. I mean, like, I've been able to like look after my family. So I feel like on the days that are really, really tough, you have to obviously cry. Crying is very nice. I mean, like, you just get it out there and like
Release.
you have to. And just having a supportive family and just being like, okay, you've cried. What's the next plan? What's next? Like, what's going to happen? And I have like this drive in front of me and like, you know what? Yes, I've cried, but crying's not necessarily going to help me get to the next step. What's going to go on? So I will literally like try everything, put as much out there, try to connect with different people. Like, what do I have to do to make this work? Because it is going to work. It's a matter of when and how, but it's going to work. So it definitely comes with the rough days, but I feel like throughout my journey of 5 years, if I hadn't, or even like my childhood, if I hadn't gone through those specific things that I have gone through and I possibly will go through in the future, I wouldn't be as resilient, as determined, as passionate about my business as if I had not gone through it at all. So I feel like I take it with a pinch of salt. It's teaching me something and I'm going to come out stronger at the end of the day. So I feel like yeah.
Wow, I really feel privileged to just be able to chat to you about these things. And your mother also sounds like an incredible person. So kudos to her as well for what she's done in raising yourself and your sister. Amazing. It's really inspiring. So thank you for sharing that. I really do appreciate it. So now let's chat about more vision, like future vision. If you had unlimited resources and no barriers, and you might also be busy doing this right now with your app, but what would you build next for South Africa's health system or the world if you want?
So 2 parts. With my podiatry practice, I'm going to get national expansion and making foot healthcare as accessible as possible. So when you think of a foot problem, you know, okay, podiatry. I know foot motion podiatry. So with that comes a lot of marketing, a lot of education, a lot of partnering with different companies. So that will be my ultimate goal, which I hope to achieve within the next 2 years. So I'll keep you in touch with that.
Yes.
But also one of the apps that I really, really want to make is something that someone could basically just open their phone and have as much knowledge. Well, I mean, like nowadays people do have Google and ChatGPT and whatever it may be. So there's a lot of different things that I want to do when it comes to diabetes, when it comes to like health apps or even like shopping apps, shoe shopping, all of these things. So I think I'm gonna keep you on your toes here. And when I'm starting to launch my particular app, I think I think you'll be very excited about this app because it's having like a podiatrist in your pocket when you're going shopping.
Yeah. No, look, my brain, I'm full of dad jokes and puns. Sounds like you're dipping your toes in technology.
I have dry jokes. Oh gosh, I feel like dry jokes just help with life. It's so lovely.
I mean, I could keep going, but before I put my foot in my mouth, let's
There
go
we
with
go.
You'd think I can't put a foot wrong, but I can. So I've got 2 left feet. See, I can keep going all day. But let's go to the outro. Let's find out. Alisha, I just want to thank you again for your time and your insights, your energy. It's been amazing. And if someone wants to connect with you online, I know LinkedIn is a good place to find you. I've heard TikTok. But tell people where can they find you. Tell us, about your businesses. Now's your opportunity to just like plug shamelessly. Go for it.
So thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been so fun chatting with you and just sharing my story and sharing about feet, which is quite nice. So after
this, you can put your feet up and you can relax.
Exactly.
It's Friday after all. Cool.
So with Foot Motion Podiatry, we are currently in KZN. So I've got 3 branches, Northern KZN, Ladysmith, Escort, and Newcastle. And we're hoping to expand within the next month or so to Pietermaritzburg and then hopefully in Durban, because there's a lot of queries that has been coming from Durban, and then hopefully just national expansion, making foot healthcare as accessible as possible through the Foot Motion Podiatry brand. But then also with my wellness company, FMP Wellness, and getting into HealthTech and offering digital platforms for businesses to start empowering their employees, but also their organizations, and having proper data-driven decisions. That is something we do nationally. We could do it in the remotest of the remote areas. And we're planning on, partnering with as many companies in all walks of life, no pun intended, to...
That was good. I didn't even see that one. Nice.
So basically to partner with as many organizations as possible, whether you're in the workforce place, whether you're in occupational health and safety, whether you're taking care of babies. I mean, I have my youngest patient was 18 months old and that had ingrown toenail. So I mean, like everybody just being so more proactive with your health and paying for prevention rather than just, focusing all the funds on treatment. So, yeah.
Wow, that was brilliant. Well, thank you so much. I'm also glad to hear that you're expanding your footprint, which is brilliant.
Here we go. Here you go.
That was my last one, I swear. But on that note, thank you so much. It's been brilliant chatting to you. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and weekend. So yeah, we'll be in touch.